What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
and today we're back at it answering more questions from you guys in another episode of For the Greater. This
is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get those questions first. And that is what?
Twist Jane has done. This question is all about the Tau becoming the next Imperium. So, what if the Tau Empire would be as big as the Imperium? Do you think that in the end they would also become dark and evil, such as the Imperium? And we know what happened to the Imperium after the end, after the Great Crusade. Will this happen to the Tau?
That's a good question. I don't think, faster than light travel is the key.
Yes, which they're already kind of on the brink of cracking it because of the whole Star-Tide Nexus stuff. So they are able to travel into the warp and exit into far expanses of space, but they haven't perfected the whole Geller field stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they get basically bombarded by Zeech demons. So once they achieve that, which they kind of already have because they're basically they're in the Damocles Crusade or Damocles area of space, and now they've went all the way to like the northern fringes of the galaxy?
Yeah, by the Tempestus, yeah,
and then they're fighting like the Death Guard and stuff over there. So, I mean, if they keep doing this and if they perfect it and they start putting more colonies and spheres and stuff like that in different areas of the galaxy, I do think they'll become a huge threat. I don't think they'll get to the point of the Imperium, though, because the one driving factor that sets them apart is their ideologies. So, for example, the Tau have the greater good. The Imperium have the Emperor or the Imperial Truth. So one is all about achieving the best for the whole instead of the individual, whereas the other one, it's all about one individual, God, essentially. So I think these two driving factors, it's what's going to differentiate the two. And even though, like you said, evil and like whatnot, there is no good guy or bad guy in 40K. It's all just a shade of gray, and I think that's how they come out as seeing like the good guys. But in reality, when you go behind the scenes and you see all like this brain control and this join us or we'll eradicate you ideology from like the ethereals, then you get to see like, yeah, they're everybody's doing the same thing, just in different, like with a different mask, if that makes sense.
Right. So then ultimately, if they do gain power, like that shade of gray would turn, probably.
Yeah.
And then a similar thing to the Imperium would happen, probably.
Mm-hmm. I still don't think like they'll regress in terms of like technology and stuff like the Imperium, like the whole stagnation and whatnot, because their technology is already superior to that than the Imperium. It's just they need more manpower, they need more resources and stuff like that to be able to sustain the freaking workhorse of the Imperium.
Right, yeah. Staying on the topic of time or faster than light travel, this next question comes from Brian B. The Imperium now has a way to communicate and travel without using the warp. How much better does it get? Way better, because like even right now, communication through the warp with astropaths and stuff like that, it's not always guaranteed, and there is delays. Mm-hmm. So sometimes an astropathic message might come later or sooner, or well later than it's supposed to, and then the ships get sent out. But by the time the ships arrive, like it's just chaos.
Yeah.
So it's both communication and travel that gets kind of messed up by the time warping effects of the Imperium.
Right.
If you get rid of that, then like a Dolmen Gate or something like that, then boom, you can support and protect more planets and make it stronger.
Yeah, you essentially become the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Where like it seems like information is just like that. Oh, this planet is getting attacked. My forces are under siege by Darth Vader. We need help now. And then zoom, they're right there 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this was the Imperium, the freaking, by the time they get there, it would already be an Empire-controlled planet.
Yeah, and which is why there's so much autonomy within 40K, which is something that I don't think people realize when they first start playing or start reading the books. The planetary governors can run their planet however they want, and if they do something bad, like chaotic, it might take years or even generations before Inquisitors become like privy to the whole situation.
Yeah, and if like nobody's even paying attention, then nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
It's once until you noticed, oh, these guys haven't been sending their tithes to Terra. Let's get that money.
Yeah, yeah. Cash rules everything around me.
Speaking of cash, how much is the dollar in your area?
Next question comes from Aria816. Is there any lore from first or second edition that you think is not commonly known by most 40K fans?
40K was called Rogue Trader before it was called 40K.
Yeah, and it was more of it was a smaller game.
Yeah.
Which is cool, and I like that. And it was obviously focused on rogue traders.
Yes. Which I wonder if it would have stayed that, would it have been as popular, or do you think it needed to become this like game that it is nowadays in order to gain that attention?
I think it definitely has to it had to have become the game that it is, because the game that it is now is there's so many levels to it, and you wouldn't have that with, because Rogue Trader felt or feels like Kill Team. Yes. Or not like Kill Team,
I know what you're trying to say though.
Blackstone
Fortress.
That kind of those kind of games.
Like a skirmish type, yeah.
Yeah. And after a while, that does not get fun. The fun part, and the thing that I think gets people hooked, is the nonstop investigating the lore, creating your armies, sitting there and being like, ooh, what if I added another dreadnought? Ooh, what if instead of having a squad of bikes, I switched it for some coptas? Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff really gets you in there, and it goes away from a skirmish game to a big epic game.
Yeah,
not epic as in epic, but
Will they bring epic back?
They said they would.
Mm-hmm.
They also said fantasy.
Yeah, Warhammer: The Old World.
Yeah.
It's like, let's give them a tease and then not talk about it for 2 years.
Yep.
Another obscure thing in the lore that I really liked was for the Necrons. Back in, 5th edition, they had a rule where, if you only had 25% of your army left on the board, they booked it out of there and got teleported back to the Tomb World, and you lost.
Yeah.
That was hilarious because it happened to a friend of ours.
Which is crazy feat to do, because even if you just say it out loud, damn, first turn, because it did happen first turn, you killed that many of your units.
Yeah.
But then again, I think we were splitting a 12,000 point game, weren't we? So you didn't bring the full 12,000. It was because 2 on 2.
Yeah.
And then they were sharing 1,000 or
1,250.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1,200 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's so crazy though, to lose that many, and he got so mad. He just kind of stopped talking, picked up his minis and left.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is the most reasonable thing to do in that situation.
Yeah, I guess. Instead of just standing there and watching people play.
Yeah, for 2 hours.
Yeah. Next question.
This was by Terry N. In the Horus Heresy book, False Gods, a demon pretending to be Hastur Sejanus talks to Horus about how the Primarchs came to be. He says that the Emperor made a deal with the Chaos Gods and they gave him some of their power, which he then used to make the Primarchs. So, therefore, is the Emperor of Mankind a demon prince or some type of Chaos God? Even though he betrayed and tricked the Chaos Gods, he did steal their power, which he then used.
That alone doesn't make him a god, but yes, the concept of him becoming a god is not new.
No, yeah.
It's been a theory forever.
Right. Even now, people are saying that his body is dying on the golden throne, but he's attaining power through the army of the lights and through prayer and praise and stuff like that. So he's becoming a god emperor while the flesh and blood emperor is, withering away.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that concept of the emperor becoming a god. Mm-hmm. But also just because he but because he made some type of negotiation with the Chaos Gods doesn't make him a god.
Right. And even though we kind of take that as a fact, you also got to remember that this demon was also trying to convince Horus to join Chaos. And demons will say and do anything to get their, plans going into motion. So maybe the Emperor didn't necessarily ally with Chaos or whatever. Maybe there's some lies to that truth. But we don't know if that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. Good question, though, and I've seen that's been floating around the internet a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last one. Do you have one?
This one is by CMTQ62. Can you guys explain the hierarchy of Chaos when it comes to their champions, demons, etc.? And what and where do they rank in terms of authority and power?
So I think it starts off at the very top with obviously the Chaos God, and then you have Demon Princes.
Greater demons.
No, not Demon Princes. You have the Primarchs.
Yeah, well, Primarchs, in my opinion, they're kind of a demon prince, but since they're a Primarch, they're elevated above it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Chaos God, Demon Primarchs, Demon Princes, Greater Demons, Lesser Demons.
Well, if you say, yeah, lesser demons, then that's that.
Yeah.
Because you could break it down like, so after, was it? Greater demons, champions, and then after champions, I guess you could say...
Like the regular foot soldiers of chaos, and then maybe cultists.
The very bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you have like a named character, they also fall somewhere in between in there.
Yeah.
Like Ahriman, or even a named character for a greater demon. It always fluctuates too.
Yeah. Because
I was gonna say, because sometimes you have like Typhus taking on a greater demon and he beats him. So
right. Yeah. And Typhus would just be a champion.
Yeah, because I guess Typhus, Karn, Lucius, and who's the last one that I always forget?
It's Lucius, Karn. Who
Ahriman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are like the 4 champions of chaos.
Yeah. But those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much. And did we do the super thanks in this episode?
There wasn't one for this episode.
But if you guys want to support us with a super thanks, shoot us a super thanks. And if you have a question, we will answer it guaranteed the next episode.
Right. And you don't have to support us by super thanks. It's just greatly appreciated, and it makes things go a lot smoother for the channel, so you guys can get more 40K lore and content.
Right.
Yeah. Again, we always like it when you guys support us with liking, commenting, sharing, and of course, everything else.
Yes.
This has been the Sound Alchemist,
Gershwan.
and we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.